Hello guys, it's Daniel Clay from Just Press Play, and today I want to talk about something that's been interesting me a lot, and that is Microsoft basically banning emulators off of the Windows Store. Now, to a lot of people you can easily say like, hey Nathaniel, there's more than one emulator out there, you don't have to really go to the Windows Store to get the emulator, that's just based on the Windows 10 OS or whatever like that. You can get any third-party emulator out there. This is third-party, there's tons of NES and all those kind of emulators out there. You don't really have to depend on the Windows Store. I completely understand that. At the same time, that's completely understandable, especially when it comes to something like, they don't want to infringe on anybody's rights. Nintendo kind of still licenses out some of the classic NES games that could be played on these emulators. At the same time, I'm going to kind of play devil's advocate against Microsoft and say that getting all this hardware is not as easy as it used to be for a lot of people. Some people can't afford it. Some people can't, build large libraries of games. And there's some, rare ROMs online that you can't really find easily in a mom and pop game shop or inside a GameStop's retro catalog. You can't really find them, or they're worth a lot of fucking money. So that's completely understandable. At the same time, I sure do wish that there could have, they could have just made this like some kind of plug-in or whatever like that, but that's not going to really happen though. Microsoft just completely banned the submission of these things as well. So current emulators are no longer on there. I think they had a really good NES emulator on there that was like off the fucking chain. I loved it a lot. I'm not too hurt about it though. I mean, there's, once again, like everyone would probably argue against me about, is that there's tons of other emulators out there. But, this is not illegal at all, and I can understand that. It's not illegal. But the thing is that getting these things from other marketplaces like pawn shops, swap meets, and, trading events like that, it can be really fucking expensive. Some people are nice enough to sell some of these retro games on NES, Genesis, whatever emulators. I know this thing had a lot of emulation and stuff like that. I completely understand that because NESbox was one of my favorites, completely one of my favorites on there. Had a beautiful UI and yeah, it was just extremely cool to use. But the policies have been structured now that you can't really submit them, or they're not downloadable anymore. Am I completely sad about this? No. I do hope that NESbox is able to craft a port over to a regular Windows UI style kind of application, because the UI of their app is extremely great. At the same time, it's kind of sad though. It's technically kind of sad. I currently can't really find emulators on mine. So mine's updated on like the latest version of Windows 10. So yeah, it's not on there anymore. And yeah, it's kind of weird that's what's actually happening. So what is everyone's opinion on this? I mean, I like emulation, and that's just my first part of this video. I like emulation. Do you think it's fair they removed it? Do you think it's wrong? Overall, I think it's kind of iffy a little bit, because emulators have been out on the web for years and years and years and years and years. People need to also understand something else, is that emulation and being able to play these ROMs from back in the day and having these ROMs being backed up is preservation in some kind of way. Introducing people to emulators also gets people into the hobby of collecting games. If you can see it as a good or bad thing, a hipster's thing, whatever like that. But people going out and, wanting to know, like, hey, how does it actually feel to play on the actual NES or SNES? I wonder how that actually feels. They might, get into the hobby of actually buying the physical copy of the game. So it also has some encouragements for, hobbyists, or future hobbyists that are, current gamers that wouldn't mind actually having the physical copy of the game. So I agree with Kotaku. I agree with a lot of the sources. I agree with Game Industry Biz. Everybody, this is a very cool preservation technique. Businesses, like Nintendo, I don't care what anybody says. They said it's not too illegal, but Nintendo has shut down ROM sections and like Cool ROM. Remember Cool ROM? Nintendo like flagged the entire thing. They had to take down a shit ton of SNES and NES ROMs. It was pretty big, but at the same time, it was simpler to use this. It's way easier to use this, and I mean, it's not the only NES emulator. It's not the only storefront that you can get multiple other emulators at. But it's kind of sad to see it die out so fast. And that's probably the end of this video. I'm going to ask this question one more time. What's your opinion on emulating games and not really owning the physical hardware? Do you emulate games? Do you enjoy emulating games? And do you find emulating games better than actual buying physical hardware and, plugging the cartridge into it and, having fun or whatever like that on a physical television set? Give me your opinion in the comments. Like and subscribe. The channel could really use it right now. We're trying to grow the channel as much as we can. And that is it for me. Talk to you guys later.